You know what? I think it's unfair for me to comment in I guess maybe on behalf of the industry. All I can say is this, the time that we spent with Shedeur, and what he's done throughout his college career is impressive. He's an impressive young man. He's a really good quarterback. Sometimes fit comes into play, and I'd also say this. There are four more.
Shedeur Sanders, right? I mean, there is just so much content, so much debate, so much vitriol over Shedeur Sanders. They have remained relevant even when they're not winning. And I really ended up liking him as a person as well, and I still do. I think they really looked at it and thought, he's going to be fine here. So it really hasn't been him as much as it has been everything around him. And a lot of it is social media and regular media, but it's really not Shedeur putting himself in the eye of the storm. It's more so just all of the ancillary stuff around him.
Cleveland didn't just make a draft pick, they dropped a bomb on the NFL. One single move, one bold decision, and suddenly every team in the league is looking straight at the Browns like, what did they just do? It wasn't a quiet shuffle on draft night. It was a full-on shockwave that flipped the script in real time. Andrew Berry, the GM, known for being cool, calm, and calculated, just threw that whole image out the window. He pulled the kind of move that doesn't feel like football strategy. It feels like the start of a Hollywood blockbuster. Forget slow transitions or careful development, because the Browns didn't just promote Shedeur Sanders, they launched him. Past the depth chart, past expectations, and straight past Dillon Gabriel's steady, hard-earned reputation, Shedeur landed right in the middle of the league's loudest storyline. And the craziest part, it wasn't a mistake and it wasn't an emotional impulse. It was planned, a deliberate, high-risk decision that could either save the franchise or blow up everything they've built. For years, Cleveland has played it safe, but that ended the moment Andrew Berry stopped playing by the book. He looked at his quarterback options, weighed Dillon Gabriel's consistency against Shedeur's wild electric upside, and picked the road that promised fireworks. Sure, Berry's press quotes sounded calm, praising Shedeur's poise, his maturity, his college track record, but the real move? It screamed danger and ambition all at once, anything but calm. That's how Andrew Berry played it. He didn't wait for perfect film, second opinions, or a league-wide consensus. He made his move immediately, throwing Shedeur Sanders into the spotlight in a way that stunned every front office in the NFL. To Berry, this wasn't about playing it safe. It was about changing the entire direction of the franchise. Shedeur had that rare spark, the kind of swagger, leadership, and pressure-proof mindset that Cleveland has been begging for. And with one bold move, Berry made it crystal clear, he's not here for predictable football anymore. He wants impact, energy, and a new identity for the Browns. In just a single day, the depth chart flipped upside down, the fan base split in two, and the Browns' future took a sharp turn toward the unknown. Shedeur Sanders didn't jump past Dillon Gabriel because of numbers or box scores. He did it because he carries something different. When he walks into a room, the whole energy shifts. You can't coach that, and you can't measure it on a scouting report. Before he even throws a pass, he's already a storyline, a brand, a spotlight, a walking headline wrapped in shoulder pads. From his college days, Shedeur brought the kind of viral attention most players only dream about. Highlight clips spreading online before the game's even over. Massive crowds showing up just to see him. And let's be real, that last name means something huge. Being Deion Sanders' son isn't just family fame, it's a built-in marketing powerhouse. Deion turns games into events, and every quote into a headline, and all that energy follows Shedeur wherever he goes. No matter what he does, gravity pulls Shedeur Sanders straight into the center of every conversation. Whether he likes it or not, the spotlight follows him everywhere. Cleveland knows it, the league knows it, and even the fans who claim they're tired of the hype can't stop watching. Reports say that was part of the plan. Cleveland didn't just want a quarterback, they wanted a headline. It's been years since the Browns were a national talking point for anything other than disaster. But the second Shedeur arrived, that changed overnight. He brings cameras, talk shows, debates, and endless attention. Exactly what the Browns have been missing for ages. Suddenly, Cleveland isn't just another team in the background. They're back in the conversation, front and center. Sure, Dillon Gabriel might have been the smarter, calmer football choice, but Shedeur is the move that makes Cleveland matter again. For a franchise that's been overlooked and underestimated forever, that kind of attention is gold. And instead of running from the chaos that came with promoting Shedeur, the Browns embraced it. They didn't want quiet, they wanted noise, passion, and headlines. Cleveland's never been the kind of team to play it safe. They can turn an ordinary afternoon into a full-blown story, and that's exactly why Shedeur fits like a glove. He's not just a quarterback, He's a lightning rod. Every word, every throw, every moment sparks emotion and debate. And for a city that lives off energy and intensity, Shedeur Sanders is the perfect storm. Fans went wild the moment the news broke. Social media exploded the second Shedeur's name hit the top of Cleveland's depth chart. Within minutes, clips, takes, and memes flooded every platform. Fans arguing, analysts debating, and players chiming in like the NFL just got a new main character. Some called it genius, others said it was reckless, but no one could look away. The Browns, once a quiet storyline, suddenly owned every headline in the country. Talk shows couldn't stop running with it. Is Shedeur ready? Did Barry rush the move? What does this mean for Gabriel? Every sports desk had a new segment lined up, and that's exactly what Cleveland wanted. Attention, energy, and national buzz pulsing through the franchise again. Whether people were celebrating or criticizing, the Browns were finally relevant. Inside the locker room, the tension was real. Veterans respected Dillon Gabriel's steady presence, but Shedeur's charisma hit different. He walked in like he belonged, like this was always his team. Cameras followed every rep, every throw, every glance from coaches. You could feel the shift. The Browns were no longer operating in the shadows. And for Andrew Barry, that was the entire point. He didn't just promote a quarterback, he flipped the team's identity in one move. He bet on star power, swagger, and noise. Cleveland's never been scared of chaos, and Shedeur Sanders is chaos personified. Confident, electric, and impossible to ignore. Love him or hate him, the Browns just became must-watch TV. By the time Shedeur hit the practice field, it was a full-blown spectacle. Cameras lined up, reporters jostled for angles, and fans leaned over fences just to catch a glimpse. Cleveland hadn't seen energy like this in years. Every throw was dissected, every smile turned into a clip, every mistake became breaking news. It wasn't practice anymore, it was a performance. And Shedeur owned the stage. His teammates felt it too. Some thrived under the new spotlight, while others struggled to adjust to the noise. But Shedeur, he didn't flinch for a second. He cracked jokes, fired deep balls, and walked around with that calm but deadly confidence that says, "I'm built for this." That presence alone started shifting the vibe of the whole roster. Suddenly, Cleveland didn't feel like an underdog anymore. Coaches couldn't hide their reactions either. Whispers spread fast. They'd never seen a rookie walk in with this much control over a room. Sure, Gabriel was technically the veteran option, but Shedeur's energy was magnetic. It pulled everyone in. Reporters describe it as controlled chaos, the perfect mix of pressure and excitement brewing before the season even began. And that's exactly what the Browns wanted all along. Not just a quarterback, but a show. Shedeur wasn't drafted to blend in, he was brought in to shake up the system, to make Cleveland unpredictable again. Every move he makes sets off a reaction, every soundbite trends, and every snap feels like a moment. The Browns have officially entered the Shedeur Sanders era, and there's no turning back now. By preseason, the hype around Shedeur had turned into something bigger, a full-on cultural moment. Every game felt like a movie premiere. Every highlight flooded timelines within seconds, and every mention of the Browns suddenly came with national attention. Cleveland wasn't just a football team anymore. They were a storyline, a movement, a spectacle. Shedeur's connection with his receivers was electric. He threw with precision, confidence, and just enough swagger to make the crowd gasp every time the ball left his hand. Even his warm-ups turned into viral clips, people showing up early just to film him stretching or talking trash with teammates. It didn't matter if it was practice or prime time. When Shedeur stepped on the field, it felt like something was about to happen. Meanwhile, the debates raged on. Analysts couldn't agree on anything. Some swore Shedeur was the future, while others claimed the Browns were playing with fire, but that's exactly what made it so captivating. Every opinion, every argument, every headline kept Cleveland in the spotlight week after week. And through it all, Andrew Barry stayed cool, watching his bold gamble unfold in real time. He knew the risks, but he also knew the potential payoff. Cleveland didn't just want to win games, they wanted to matter. And with Shedeur Sanders under center, they finally did. The Browns weren't chasing quiet victories anymore. They were chasing history, and Shedeur was leading the charge with the whole world watching. Some people started calling Shedeur the spark Cleveland's been missing for decades. Others said it was a wild gamble, all hype, no stability. But that split, that non-stop back and forth between fans and analysts, that explosion of hot takes, it's exactly what's keeping the Browns alive in a league packed with flashier markets and louder brands. Sure, stability can win games, but drama keeps your name in every conversation, and the Browns didn't stumble into this chaos by accident, they chose it. With Shedeur now sitting at the center of everything, the noise isn't fading, it's getting louder by the day. Dillon Gabriel was supposed to be the safe pick, the reliable quarterback every coach dreams of. Polished, composed, and steady under pressure.
What is going on in Cleveland? Let me know what you guys would do. Would you keep Shedeur? In my opinion, from what I've seen, Shedeur's might be the best quarterback they have on the roster. Yes, you have Flacco, and you don't need to start Shedeur right away, but you have a 5th round pick who could end up being a starter, which you're not really going to have to pay all that much. I think that's a win-win for both the team and Shedeur, but hey, that's just me. Let me know down below if you think he should be the starter or if you think he even makes the team.
The type who doesn't need cameras or clickbait to earn respect. For months, it looked like he was the logical answer to Cleveland's quarterback question, but logic never stood a chance once Shedeur stepped into the picture. Before the season even kicked off, Shedeur's momentum was unstoppable. He became the guy everyone was quietly assuming would start, while the spotlight slowly drifted away from Gabriel. Not because Gabriel did anything wrong, but because he didn't bring that electricity Cleveland suddenly craved. Gabriel could run a clean offense, keep the locker room steady, and play safe, controlled football. But that's not what the Browns wanted anymore. They didn't just want consistency, they wanted excitement. They wanted to trend, to be talked about, to feel alive. And in today's NFL, where attention matters almost as much as victory, Shedeur Sanders gave Cleveland something stats couldn't measure: star power, that edge, that spark, that headline-making energy from day one. Shedeur Sanders was never the safe pick. He's the type of quarterback you choose when you're done playing it safe. The kind you grab when you're tired of living stuck in the middle. He's unpredictable, raw, explosive, and capable of turning a forgettable season into something the entire league can't stop talking about. And that's exactly why Andrew Berry shoved all his chips to the center of the table and said, "Let's go." For years, Cleveland's been caught in a painful cycle. A new quarterback every season, a new wave of hope, followed by another disappointment. The word rebuild lost all meaning to fans who've heard it too many times. But this move, it finally broke that pattern. Berry stopped staring at the floor and started aiming for the ceiling. He saw what Shedeur could become. The kind of player who might finally drag this franchise out of its endless loop of almosts. Yeah, Shedeur brings volatility, no doubt about it, but he also brings the kind of upside the Browns haven't seen since they came back into the league. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel represents everything Cleveland's already tried. Dependable but limited, polished but predictable, steady but never explosive. Picking Gabriel would have kept things safe and boring. Choosing Shedeur, that blew the whole story wide open. And when Shedeur officially jumped the depth chart, chaos hit instantly. Analysts tore the move apart, pointing to his shaky preseason and wondering if he'd ever start a real NFL game. Some said he wasn't ready, others claimed he didn't earn it, and a few even went as far as saying he might never become a true franchise leader. But that's the thing, greatness always starts with controversy. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is the controversy Cleveland can't stop feeding on. Critics came swinging the moment Shedeur Sanders' name was announced. They brought up every missed rep, every shaky drive, every moment he got pulled early, calling him all hype and no foundation. To them, he was flash without substance, a viral name without real proof. But Shedeur's supporters weren't staying quiet. They clapped back with receipts. They reminded everyone that Shedeur survived behind one of the worst offensive lines in college football, taking hit after hit, yet still putting up numbers that demanded respect. They talked about his resilience, his calm under fire, the way he kept his composure when everything around him was falling apart. The chaos wasn't his doing, it was happening around him, and still, he managed to shine through it all. Those highlight plays spread like wildfire across social media, clips that turned doubters into believers overnight. What started as a football argument turned into something bigger, a full-on battle between belief and skepticism, potential and caution, upside and safety. And as the noise grew louder, Cleveland doubled down, fully embracing the gamble they'd made. But through all the talk shows, all the debates, and all the drama, one thing stood out. Shedeur didn't flinch. The noise didn't rattle him, it fueled him. He seemed to thrive inside the storm, feeding off the pressure instead of running from it. Andrew Berry didn't promote Shedeur Sanders on a whim. He knew exactly what he was doing. He understood the chaos that would come, but he also saw what others missed. A quarterback built for pressure, a leader who doesn't shrink under the spotlight, and a presence strong enough to shift an entire franchise's mindset. Andrew Berry wasn't just drafting a player, he was making a cultural bet, a move bold enough to shake the Browns from the inside out. Reports say the owner wasn't exactly on board at first, worried about the spotlight that always follows the Sanders name, the cameras, the headlines, the non-stop attention. But Berry didn't care about the noise. He trusted his gut, trusted his film study, and most importantly, trusted what Shedeur could do for a city that's been drained by 2 decades of quarterback heartbreak. Berry didn't want another safe answer, another short-term fix that would buy the team one more forgettable season. He wanted a jolt, a player who could pull Cleveland out of its numb cycle of disappointment and give the city something to believe in again. And Shedeur brought that the second his name was called. The buzz, the national spotlight, the fan energy, it all hit at once, flooding the franchise with something it hadn't felt in years. Hope. Barry understood what that meant. Cleveland doesn't just need talent. They need belief. They need identity, swagger, and a face to rally behind. Shedeur isn't just a draft pick. He's a message. The Browns aren't rebuilding in silence anymore. They're taking their shot in full view of the world. And the moment Shedeur walked into that facility, everything shifted. Players felt it instantly. The confidence, the calm swagger, that quiet but undeniable sense that he wasn't here to wait his turn. Even the veterans picked up on it. Some welcomed the energy. Others felt the tension tighten around the room. Because a move like this doesn't just shake up the depth chart, it changes the entire atmosphere. Inside and outside that locker room, everyone knew it. Cleveland had just bet its future on a whole new kind of fire. The reaction hit like an earthquake. Fans were completely split down the middle. Half of Cleveland was shouting that Shedeur Sanders was the future, the one who could finally break the curse that's haunted the franchise for decades. The other half, furious, saying the Browns had fallen for hype instead of stability. Every throw, every practice snap, every little sideline moment turned into a debate that owned social media feeds. Then the national spotlight hit. Hard. The moment Shedeur's name was mentioned, cameras started rolling. Partly because of his talent, but mostly because of that unstoppable Sanders pull. The kind of attention that follows his family everywhere. Analysts couldn't stop talking about it. Daily shows turned it into a full-blown storyline, breaking down his every move. Every rep, every comment, every flicker of tension was clipped, posted, and shared a million times. And even without saying much, Deion Sanders amplified it all, just by being Deion. Suddenly, Cleveland wasn't just a football team anymore. They were headline material, trending non-stop. With Shedeur at the center of it all, the story wasn't slowing down anytime soon. But one massive question split the entire city. Should Shedeur Sanders start right now? Not next season? Not after a development plan? Not after months sitting behind Dillon Gabriel? Right now! On paper, Dillon Gabriel checks every box coaches love. Polished footwork, clean mechanics, solid experience, calm decision-making. He's reliable, smart, and safe. But let's be real. Safe doesn't change a franchise. Safe doesn't make headlines, sell jerseys, or flip a team's identity. Gabriel can keep the offense steady, sure, but he won't ignite it. He can run the playbook perfectly, but he can't turn it into a show. And in Cleveland right now, the fans aren't craving safety. They're craving electricity. Dillon Gabriel can win games, no doubt about it, but he can't shift the culture. Shedeur Sanders can. He brings something you can't draw up on a whiteboard or coach into existence. Gravity. When he steps onto the field, eyes follow. When he drops back, the energy in the stadium changes. And when he takes a hit but still lasers a throw downfield, it instantly becomes a viral clip replayed for days. Cleveland hasn't had a quarterback with that kind of presence in decades. And let's be honest, quarterbacks like that don't wait quietly on the sidelines. They rise, they push, they take over rooms without even trying. Critics say he's not ready, but his supporters fire right back, saying he's already survived tougher situations than anything Cleveland can throw his way. And every single day he's not starting, the pressure doesn't just build on Shedeur, it builds on the entire franchise. Waiting might look safe, but in reality, it's just delaying what's already written in the stars. You don't draft a player like Shedeur Sanders to let him hold a clipboard, you draft him to flip the script. The Browns didn't gamble on him to be a background character in someone else's story. They gambled because he might finally be the one. The quarterback who ends the cycle of heartbreak this city's been trapped in for years. And if that's true, there's only one question left. What's the point of waiting? Cleveland's been through more quarterback disappointments than any fan base in the league. Every few years, a new name arrives, the same hope builds, and then the same heartbreak follows. But this time, something feels different. Something feels real. It really does feel different this time. Not because Shedeur Sanders is guaranteed greatness, but because he represents something Cleveland hasn't felt in years. Possibility. Real, dangerous, unpredictable possibility. Andrew Barry didn't take the easy route or chase another quiet, safe answer. He took a swing that could actually rewrite the franchise instead of repeating the same tired pattern that's kept this team stuck for 2 decades. And no matter how this story ends, whether it turns into a breakthrough or another painful chapter, it's the first move in years that feels alive. It's got energy, it's got risk, and it means something. Shedeur brings all of that every time he steps onto the field. The swagger, the fight, that pressure-proof mentality that screams confidence. These moments aren't just hype or highlight reels. They're sparks that a whole city can rally behind, even when the scoreboard doesn't cooperate. After everything Cleveland has been through, a spark matters. This gamble could turn Andrew Barry into a visionary or send the Browns crashing back into the storm they've tried so hard to escape. But for the first time in forever, the team isn't just going through the motions. They're taking a real shot. Cleveland finally has something worth watching, a quarterback worth arguing about, and a future that's anything but boring. Whether it all ends in fireworks or flames, one thing's for sure, the Browns are alive again. So, what do you think? Should Shedeur Sanders start now, or did Barry move too fast? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe for more wild NFL storylines, share this with your crew, and I'll catch you in the next one.